Hey everybody, what's up again? I hope everybody's been good since the last time we talked. So today I was thinking about what my presentation was going to be, and I decided, you know what? I had talked about the stages of change a few weeks ago. I hope you guys remember the stages of change a person goes through when struggling with some sort of addiction. And we said that it didn't just have to be drugs. It can be addiction, cell phone addiction. Someone can go through these stages. Pre-contemplation, where they don't know they have a problem. Contemplation, where they know they have a problem and they're thinking about change. Then comes preparation. You start preparing to change. Then comes action, where you actually exercise what you were preparing for, and maintenance stage. And the sixth stage, which was added about 15 to 20 years ago, was the relapse stage. And we talked about those. And that was the stages of change. And if you guys haven't seen it before, you guys can check out my other videos on my YouTube channel. But today we're going to talk about the 3 phases of relapse. So what do I mean by that? So maybe somebody's been in a stage of change for a long time. They haven't used in maybe, let's say, 5 years. Let's just throw it out there. A recovering alcoholic. They haven't used in about 5 years. Well, there are signs or symptoms a person has before they actually engage in that relapse. And that can sometimes be my job as a therapist, to see the warning signs before the relapse actually takes place. So let's talk about that today a little bit, about the importance of this. There are 3 phases of relapse. There are 5 stages of change, but there's 3 phases of relapse. Emotional, which is typically the first signs, mental, and physical. And we're going to go into each one in more depth. So the emotional one. A lot of times, a person or an individual, let's forget whether they're struggling with alcohol addiction or substance abuse, a person has life events that occur. A person goes through life and things happen. Well, sometimes things don't go as planned, and automatically that triggers some sort of emotional response. So whether a recovering alcoholic is conscious or not, these getting triggered by heavy emotions can lead to relapse. And that's technically the first sign. Once you start seeing someone start getting very stressed out, very emotional, and we're going to go through exactly what we're looking for. And here we go. So one of the first ones is intolerance of others. You see a recovering alcoholic, all of a sudden a couple things don't go their way, they start becoming intolerant of other people. It's all about them now. Oh, I don't care what that person says, it's all about me. That's not a good sign, especially if you've been working with them, engaging in coping strategies. Blaming others. Oh, it's not my fault I got late to work. It's my boss's fault for putting me on that shift. That's not a good sign. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to relapse, of course not. But if it starts being continuous, everybody has a bad day. So maybe someone's having a bad day and blames their boss for something. But when it's every day, when it's every other day, you're going to get angry at your spouse, or you're isolating yourself from your friends and family, you're having mood swings. Yeah, don't be, just because someone's having is very moody and has mood swings, that doesn't necessarily categorize it for the criteria to be bipolar. Maybe they're just going through certain life events, and certain life events can be stressful, and that can lead to an emotional response that can later cause relapse, whether it be the next day or 3 weeks down the line. But as therapists, as educators, as social workers, as family members, as husbands, as wives, as cousins, we should, if we have a loved one or we know someone that's struggling with substance abuse and they're on the road to recovery, or maybe they're maintaining sobriety, if you see them go through a series of days that they're very emotional, then that should raise a red flag. It definitely should. Also, let's focus now on, this is the first one. So let's put here, I didn't have any space, but let's put number 1, whatever. Then we'll put here number 2. This is very dangerous, the mental relapse. So once a person has a life event that occurs, whether they're conscious or not, that starts getting them stressful for a series of a couple weeks or maybe very intense for a few days, then they start coming to the mental stage, the mental relapse stage, where they start engaging in risky behaviors. What type of risky behaviors, you might say? Well, maybe they're going to the park where they used to smoke or do drugs. Maybe they start hanging out with the social group that they used to engage in that substance abuse with, or that substance use. Maybe they're starting to go reliving the past. Oh yeah, I remember when I used to smoke pot and do coke in the bathroom over there at that club. Let's go over there tonight. That's not a good sign. Why would you even bring that up? Why would you even want to go to the same place that you associate with your recent past of drug use? Once a person goes from the emotional stage to the mental stage, yeah, you're right, they technically haven't relapsed yet, but they're getting there. They're getting very close. Lying, cheating, and stealing. They lie to their, an adolescent might lie to their mom. Oh no, mom, I'm not going to that park where I used to smoke marijuana. I'm just going to the movies. And as soon as they leave the house, they're going to that park where they used to smoke marijuana and hang out with their old friends. They might think that they're not going to use, but they're setting themselves up. Their environment isn't good. It's setting themselves up for failure. Justifying relapse. That's when it starts getting very dangerous. Now this is, I should have put this in red. Justifying relapse. Oh, one line of coke won't do anything. One shot of heroin isn't gonna destroy the rest of my life. Oh, one drink, just one drink when I go out to the bar, it's not going to be a big deal. So now they change. It went from the road to recovery. I've been in that maintenance stage of change now for whether it be 2-3 months or maybe 2 weeks or maybe 5 years, but now it's starting to change. Something happened. They got very emotional for a series of a few days or weeks. Now they start thinking about times they used to use, and if they're going to use, I don't care about relapse. I don't care if I have that one drink at the club this time. That can be very dangerous for someone who's trying to recover. Giving up. I mean, I should have just put this over here. If you're giving up, then you're basically consuming that substance. By the way, once you consume the substance, it's not the end all be all. I think if I mentioned in my last video, not my last video, but one of my recent videos, the stages of change, if you guys want to watch it before this one, in the stages of change, I specifically said, just because someone relapses doesn't mean they start over on that stages of change. I'm going to give you an example. I had a client who relapsed. After being 3 months clean, he relapsed. And one of the best things when he relapsed was he told me, hey, I messed up. I did this weekend. I said, okay, so what are we going to do about it? How are we going to move forward from this? I'm proud of you that you were honest. What are we going to do to move forward? He didn't just start again and he started contemplating whether he was going to change or not. He immediately admitted it, immediately went back to action, went back on working to himself, and he was clean within 3 weeks because I drug tested him myself with the drug test. And he's staying on that maintenance stage. And sometimes a person can relapse and they'll just go back to the maintenance stage like my client did, and I'm very proud of him. But it's important to note that it doesn't always happen like that. One drink can lead to a series of relapse, weeks of relapse, days. And as clinicians, educators, social workers, family members, we all, I mean, if you don't have a family out there, that's fine. But if you know someone that's struggling with addiction, that has struggled with addiction in the past, and you see them going through an emotional or mental relapse, maybe it's a good time for you to step in and say, hey, what's going on? Sometimes a person just needs to be taught, just needs to be heard. Well, this was kind of a short video today. I'm really a substance abuse counselor, and That's my specialty. I'm really a mental health clinician, but that's my specialty. So I tend to like the substance abuse theories and whatnot. But if you guys want me to talk about anything specific, I was thinking about talking about introverts and extroverts since I posted about it a couple times this past week. You guys can always shoot me a message on my IG. I don't really see it all that much, but comments on my YouTube videos would be great. I appreciate everybody that has subscribed to my YouTube, of course. And I love feedback and I love trying new things. So if you guys have any ideas for me, I'm all open for it, okay? See you guys. Thanks again.